Welcome to the League of Women Voters presentation on why it's important to vote in New Jersey. I am Kathy Abbott of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area. I'll be talking about the responsibilities of elected officials, mostly based on the tax dollars that they control. As you know, budgets say a lot about the priorities and the policies of decision makers. On November 7th, this election day, we are electing decision makers at the state, the county, and the municipal level. At the state level, it will be the state legislature, the Senate, and the Assembly. At the county level, we will be electing the county commissioner, a county commissioner, and the county clerk. At the municipal level, we will be electing our council, our committee members, or our Board of Aldermen members in Morris County. Government does provide us with services that your elected officials control. And a most basic service that the government provides are utilities for your home. Incoming are water, electricity, power, communications, and outgoing out of your home, you need wastewater going out and stormwater being controlled away from your home and roads to and from your home. And the government either provides these or regulates these utilities so that you have the right to use them. Good government promotes the general order and well-being of the citizens. And as the preamble of the Constitution says, promotes the general welfare. The top piece of welfare for people is security, and that's provided by the police, the fire department, and the emergency services like the first aid squad. So I just want to say that our security is so important that we even allow refugees from other countries where they do not have sufficient security, where there's a lot of violence. We allow them asylum in our country at the border because they are unsafe, and that's why they are coming to our democracy, which has good emergency services and police. Education is also required to be free from the government to all citizens. Also, we have public libraries provided often mostly by the municipalities, somewhat grant funded by the state. Recreation is funded by municipal elected officials who set their budgets. Senior services, types of recreation for different people in the town. And also planning. Planning is extremely important to have. Planning is done by the planner that is hired by the town. It's also done by the county. And we have volunteers that are appointed by the elected officials in each municipality. Very important are the required planning board and board of adjustment, also the environmental commission, the open space committee, which is optional. And there are the other committees that promote the general welfare are say a senior center committee, a recreation committee, the library board. Okay. And I want the primary use of the taxes themselves go to police and public works in municipalities, and to some extent at other levels of government. Police conduct traffic safety, prevent property theft, keep you safe, and that includes for domestic issues. There are a surprising number of calls to the police to resolve domestic issues. And public works workers are out there mostly on the roads, and they control storm sewers, maintain them, and the sewage treatment plant is controlled by government public works employees, and we have solid waste controlled by each town and then to the county level, and then we have parks controlled by municipalities and the county and the state. Here's an example of municipal spending for 2023, Chatham Township's $22.5 million budget. Top of the list for spending, 17% of the budget goes to public safety, which is mostly the police, and mostly the police wages and benefits. And public works is next. Then the general government, that's all the other functions of government, the planning, the accounting, the clerk, records keeping. Then we have health insurance. Health insurance goes to all those employees. So really, if you take health insurance separately, you can really add it back into equal proportions, not equal proportions, the proportions that are up there for public safety, public works, and general government. There's also long-term debt that has to be paid for each year. And there are statutory expenditures, which is the benefits of past employees. That would be pensions and health insurance. That's a statutory expenditure mandated by the state for each municipality. And we have the next municipality up, which is Dover, and we looked at the 2023 budget of $35.3 million. Again, public safety at the top. Public works is second. Insurance, which is mostly health insurance, also liability insurance for the town. Statutory expenses comes up fourth, which is the health insurance and pensions of retired employees. Then we have debt and general government. But once again, public safety, public works are number one. The last example of the spending breakdown is Florham Park. And we have public safety number one. Insurance is number two, but DPW comes right behind it with 1% less at 11%. So you're basically saying, again, the employees are the biggest expense, and the most employees are in public safety and in public works. Here, Florham Park happens to have a large capital improvement of $1 million this year. That's more of a one-time thing, apparently. Debt service comes next, general government, which would be mostly the employees, and statutory expenditures for the retired employees. Now, the way you look at each dollar for the towns, here's an example from Chatham Township. This was from the budget presentation. 65% of each property tax dollar collected by the Chatham Township went to the public schools, and then the county and the municipality split the rest. Each town has to, of course, pay for its own expenses and municipal expenses, but they have to send money to the county based on the equalized assessed value of their real estate. And so it's not a per capita payment to the county. It is based on the value of the property that's assessed, the current assessments. And so wealthier towns do send more money to the county per capita than towns that where the property is not as valuable and in the market. And I wanted to point out there's a minimum library tax in the bottom right corner. That is universal for the whole state. Every municipality that has a library has to spend a minimum of 33 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value on their public library. Open space is an optional tax. That is always a separate fund, but it is something that the town has to, and the elected officials have to decide the level of that tax depending on how much they value open space that year. Another example of the municipal spending by schools versus municipal versus county library and open space is this Morristown Township, and they spend also over 60% on schools. That's the blue there. Then 22% for the municipal budget. The county is considerably less, actually, at 14%. 1% on open space. No, 1% on the library, and less than 1% on open space. Florham Park is 56% school district. That's less than 60%. It may have something to do with the fact that they share a school district with East Hanover, and I believe also Hanover. And then they have municipal government expense of 25%, 2% on the library. County expense is considerably lower than the municipal expense. County is 17%, municipal is 25%, but still, school is the overwhelming majority. Now, once we look at the county level, it's an efficient expenditure for services that are available to all residents, but all residents do not use them as regularly as they do their municipal services. So there's the county has the courthouse. The county has the elections, the Board of Elections, and buys the voting machines and regulates the elections. We certainly wouldn't want to have that being done by a municipal employee when it's much more efficient at a county level. Then there's the county jail, same story. We certainly not all citizens need, there aren't many people in the county jail, but all citizens in the county are served by the county jail to keep them safe. And then there's human services, which are not provided in great amounts at the municipal level. And so the human services that the county provides are mental health, drug treatment for youth, jobs training, veteran services, and adult protective services. And we also have county roads, but again, they're not as costly as some of the other services, the county courthouse, elections, jail. And then we have education at the county level, the county college, the county library, and the technical schools that are for high school. Also, the county manages solid waste. Our garbage and recycling from each town are managed by each county in New Jersey. Morris County, the budget presentation, which was almost $345 million, are seen here. And the highest expense is employee benefits, but second is public safety. That would mean that public safety employees get the most employee benefits, but they provide employee benefits to the general government employees and to public works employees, to the college employees, county college, the parks system employees, the county parks. So we have, there you see it, public safety still number one as a government responsibility, keeping people safe. Next slide. And who are we electing to run the county? We have 9 county commissioners. Only 1 is up for re-election this year. We have the county clerk who runs elections and all the record keeping of the wills, the land deeds, court decisions. Then we have the county sheriff who's controlling the safety. That's the jail. That's the drug the drug abuse or drug prevention programs, and also the park police and Homeland Security. Then we have the surrogate, which is an elected official who runs the family court. At the state level, we're up to $54.5 billion for the state of New Jersey budget for 2023. And 70% of the spending in that budget is actually passed down to individuals and municipalities and schools and entities that run programs that are benefiting the public. So you see the first category is called Property Tax Relief Fund, and the second is called Grants in Aid. There are direct state services like say the highways, all the regulatory departments that they have, many functions that we don't even realize are happening. There's construction as funding, obviously always debt. Casinos are small, but always a separate line item. So next slide shows that the top expenditure, the property tax relief fund that's passed down, it is passed down to local schools and municipal governments for their operations. The next slide shows examples of roads in Morris County that have been paid for by state grants, and road funds comes from state money as well as allocations from the U.S. Department of Transportation. So New Jersey has to match those funds and generate their own funds through road tolls and get the gas tax, which is decided on actually every year by state officials that are elected. And so here's the portion of grants. Morristown, the total road cost for this year, 18% was paid for by grants from the state. And Chatham Township, it was 32%. In Morris Plains, it was 21%. The state often gives money to the county, and some of the grant reviews and allocations are decided by the county. So there's a hand down from the state to the counties and then to the municipalities often for this money. Okay, next slide shows the second category of the state passing down of funds to people and entities that are for local control. And that category, grants and aid. The largest category of spending in grants and aid is Medicaid, and that goes to individuals. And then block grants to universities and colleges is the second highest level of spending in grants and aid. There's also tuition assistance to individuals. There's the New Jersey Transit Subsidy, and the rest of these are not in order of how much is spent. It's there to show that the state sets policy by its spending. For example, it wants to invest in high-tech industries to support the economy and jobs. It invests in real estate to support, again, economy, jobs, renewal of cities or anywhere really. Manufacturing, again, jobs, particularly the film industry, Main Street recovery funds, the arts. There was even a New Jersey Revolutionary War commemoration fund. Some of these were, including this one, were funded by the federal government's American Recovery Plan. So there was money in the last couple of years coming from the COVID era American Recovery Plan allocations to keep America running well. And so there were certain things done that may not have been done before, such as replacing roofs on buildings, or the signs in Morristown, the new signs commemorating the Revolutionary War sites in Morristown. You can notice there are new signs, and that has something to do with stimulus money from the federal government and also state money being matched. All right, next example, second to last slide that I'm covering is the duties of the state elected officials. If you are voting for a state senator, they can appoint state judges, and those judges work in the counties as well as at the state level. And then the policies that the Assembly and the Senate vote on are, everything really from clean water and air to pay-to-play restrictions, which means restricting the amount of money that different people can spend in donations to political campaigns. And then insurance regulation is also a big one because it affects how people's health insurance can work for them. It affects the rates of auto insurance. It's a big quality of life regulator for individual people. And of course, criminal penalties, including the death penalty or drug penalties, for example. Gun control is a very big one. Recent legislation, this is just to give you an example. The League of Women Voters was very concerned about the loosening of the pay-to-play law, which it said that government contractors can donate to political parties. And for almost 20 years, we had a rule that government contractors could not donate to political parties. And so the League of Women Voters was not happy with that decision by our elected officials in the state legislature. Then there's another example examples from this summer. Flooding notifications are mandatory for sellers and landlords. There were bills passed supporting job growth and burgeoning industries. And there's bills to combat our large problem of auto theft, which is statewide. The legislation that we had advocated for recently are in-state tuition for DACA students, which is children of immigrants. And I don't know enough about that to keep speaking about it. Period products for women in restrooms, online voter registration, and in-person early voting. Next, I'm turning over the narration to Barbara Cuppersmith. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Kathy. That was great.
Thanks,
and
Barbara.
now I'm going to talk a little bit about some other things. So this, I want to talk about where, and how you can decide who to vote for. Didn't say that too well, but anyway, that's and I'm Barbara Cooper-Smith. I'm the voter service chair of the League of Women Voters of the Morristown area. So, like I said, you found out about the legislation, you found out what your people vote for. Now you're going to find out the ways you can vote, where you can vote, and how to use the information from the league to make it, you can use league information to help you make a decision on who to vote for. So we're nonpartisan. We don't endorse a party or candidate because part of our mission is to give you the information to make an informed decision. We're not telling you who to vote for. So just a little bit about the League of Women Voters. We've been in existence for over 100 years. We're a nonpartisan, as I said, grassroots member-based organization. We educate and empower voters. And our motto is defending democracy and supporting voter rights. Now, we were called the League of Women Voters because originally we were started to help women learn about voting back in the 1920s, but we are now open to all genders and all ages. Now, we are divided into two parts at the state level and national level, even at the local level. There's an advocacy side of the league and an education side of the league. And I'm going to talk about the education side. So what do? We do information and registration tables at community events, schools, libraries, and anywhere you'd like us to go. So for example, tomorrow I will be at the Morris Township Library, registering voters, helping them to vote if they need help, re-registering, changing address, fixing signature, anything they need. We'll also be at Madison Bottle Hill Day, which will be October 21st. Florham Park is having a dog parade on this Saturday, the 7th, and coming out day for Morris County. We can always use more volunteers. No experience is needed. So that's my little plug for the league. Now, as the voter service chair, one of my most important tasks is setting up, with a lot of help this year, thank goodness, candidate debates and forums. We've done several local council or committee and Board of Education so far, and we're scheduled to do several more. Just to let you know, we will only do a political debate if there's at least one candidate from each party, because this is how we make it nonpartisan. Because we can't do it unless we have one candidate from each party, sometimes we cannot schedule a debate. You can view all our past debates from the last 3 years since COVID. We've been live streaming and recording, and we have presentations, and they're on our LWV Morristown Area YouTube channel. And our website lists the upcoming debates and events. Now, nationally, so that's one of the ways you can learn. Nationally, we also have a website called vote411.org. Us old timers know 411 was what you dialed when you needed information. We don't use that anymore, but this was started a while ago, so it's called vote411.org. And it's again a nonpartisan. We enter all the information we are given from the candidates that are running. So sometimes we don't have the right address, but that's the information we're given. And then we send them information to ask them to fill this out. We have some questions, maybe a little bio, where they stand, and they do it. They do not send it to us and then have us send it into it. They do it directly. And it's a very important function, especially at the local level, because, nationally, even statewide, you can often find a lot of other sites are doing things, but the at a local level, it can be very hard to find information. And you can go to Vote 411, and they also can help you with where to vote, how to vote, a lot of different things. So first thing I want to talk about is be ready to vote. Make a plan. If you aren't registered, you need to vote, register. We can help you with that. I have some links posted at the end so you can get forms and everything. Then you also want to learn about the candidates. Like I said, go to vote411.org, our website. And then you want to decide how to vote. So there's a lot of different ways to vote. We can play, like I said, plan ahead. You can vote by mail. You can vote with a paper ballot, or you can vote in person on a voting machine. Now, if you're voting by mail, there are secure drop-off boxes, or you can mail it, or you can bring it to the county clerk's office in person. If you're voting by machine, you can do early voting, and I will tell you, the league had a lot to do with getting that passed, along with other civic-minded organizations. And you can also vote on election day at your local polling place. And one of the things I did want to tell you, when you're voting at early voting, you can vote anywhere in the county, in your county. It has to be marked because there's not a location, there's not as many polling places as you would have on a normal voting day, on the regular voting day. So voting eligibility, obviously you have to be registered to vote. And effective March 2020, people who are on parole or probation can vote, but they may need to register initially or re-register. If you don't have a permanent address, someone that's homeless can still register to vote. So how can you register to vote? You can register at the motor vehicle. So if you've moved, or a young person getting their license for the first time, you automatically are registered to vote unless you opt out of it. You can also do it online. The league had something to do with helping to get that done. You can do it in person at the county clerk's office, or you can do it by mail. Forms are available online at vote.nj.gov, and I will give you that QR code at the end. And as I think Kathy mentioned, the league and their partners are now working on same-day voter registration. So you don't have to worry about it. Right now, the deadline is October 17th. You will not have to worry about it. It will be a provisional ballot, but you can do it. So let's say, how can college students cast their vote that are New Jersey, living in New Jersey, their permanent residence is New Jersey? How can they vote? So, you can register from your college address or your parents' address, regardless of your permanent residence. So for example, if your student's permanent address is in New Jersey and you attend school at a different address in New Jersey, you can vote at your permanent address or you can vote at your school address. Situation 2, if your student's permanent address in New Jersey, but they attend a school in a different state, it's up to that state whether or not they can vote in that state, because considering college as a residence. But if they don't let you, you can always do a vote by mail ballot and vote on your New Jersey address. And I just want to let you know that that you can register from only one location. That's the important thing. You can't try to register vote, and it doesn't affect your eligibility. Okay. Who will be voting this year? Who will we be voting for this year? So we have a state senate, state assembly, county commissioners, they were formerly freeholders, county clerk, school boards in certain municipalities, and municipal offices. And I did want to mention that we do try to schedule debates and forums in all the counties where it's a contested race. So for example, if there are 3 seats open and only 3 candidates are running, we will not necessarily schedule a debate or a forum for that race. And you can take a picture of this to have the dates that we have. The one you need to really be aware of is October 17th is the voter registration deadline if you're not registered to vote. If you are registered to vote by mail, you should have already received your vote by mail ballot. If you haven't, you can call the county clerk of whichever county you're in. I'm assuming most of you watching this are in Morris County. And this is just some other dates that you want to know. And all right. And then you can vote in person. Again, You'll receive a sample ballot with your polling place starting on the 25th of October. And again, you could have you'll have limited places you can do in the county, but anywhere in the county, and your regular polling place on election day. And so this is just a little more information about early voting. And again, find out more about early voting at vote.nj.gov. And if you want to do it on a phone, it's NJ Elections. New Jersey is catching up. They're coming into the technical world. I do want to say, if you're voting in person, know your rights. Things have gotten better because everything is on a tablet. But if you're not listed, ask the poll worker to double check. If you're not listed at all, ask for a provisional ballot. If you're challenged that you can't vote, ask for a provisional ballot. You can also ask to see an election judge, and the League of Women Voters does have a hotline available that day that you can call in if you're having problems, and we will help you solve them. So I highly recommend you set up an account at the New Jersey Voter Information Portal to track your ballot and your voting history. You also can see all kinds of things, like the last time you voted, what your mailing address is according to that, what your residence is, if you're set up to vote by mail, all different other kinds of things. Now, I will tell you, if you registered more than 10 or 15 years ago, your social security number or your driver's license may not work. You'd have to get your voter ID number. It will be on your sample ballot, or you can call the county clerk's office to get it. Okay, everyone is allowed to vote by mail. It's not an absentee ballot. It's vote by mail. And this is another way where New Jersey is ahead of the game, or they've kind of caught up at this point. So, and I want to dispute an urban myth. All vote by mail ballots are counted. There's a myth that it used to be that if it was only counted if it was close, so they needed to break a tie. They are always used. They are always all counted. And again, you can track using your voter record. You can track whether it's been received, if it's been counted. The only way you would find out if it's been counted is after the election, because they do not actually count anything until the election starts, election day. Voting by mail. Okay. Vote by mail ballots are sent automatically. If you ask for them in the future, you can ask for one. The deadline is deadline to ask for one is October. The application must be received by October 31st. I'm just noticing this is a wrong date on here. And so there's several ways. Now, you can also submit your ballot very safely. Oh, and here's a little QR code for tracking your mail-in ballot. You can submit it by going to a post office box. You can submit it by hand deliver your ballot to the County Board of Elections, or you can drop it in a secure drop box. This one happens to be from Monmouth County, and the deadline is 8 p.m. on election day, but it has to be done by then. So these are a lot of links that you can use to find out some of the things and follow up on some of the things I've mentioned. I will say that I appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, please, you can email us at our email address, or this is a QR code to bring you to our website, and you can put questions in there. I recommend you take a picture of this. If you'd like to have information, I'm going to leave it up for a few seconds. And I wanted to thank everybody for listening. I hope you learned something. And I want to thank Kathy for her part of the presentation. And thank you for being involved with the League of Women Voters.
Thank you, Barbara.